welcome to the second unit, Gender and Sexualities. Now, unlike the previous unit where we were differentiating what is sex and gender, in this we are talking about an entirely new concept, which is sexuality. Now, what we will try to understand under this heading is that what is sexuality? What is the social construction? How is it socially constructed? What is sexual hierarchy? What are the same-sex desires? The concept of a good woman and the relationship with sexuality. And lastly, we will talk about continuing our discussion from the previous topic about empowerment. This time we will use the term sexual empowerment and we will try to understand it in a little more detail. Now, beginning the unit for you with the concept of sexuality. When we speak of sexuality, इस term का मतलब क्या है? Sexuality is the way you prefer to be with another person, your intimacy with another person, right? Very often, if I speak the term intimacy with another person, you will understand it as boy and girl, the intimacy between a boy and a girl. Now, where is this concept coming into your head, right? If I talk about you, looking at a movie or thinking of a romantic scene from a movie, you will definitely think of a boy and girl engaged in a romantic relationship. Now, this idea of a boy and a girl or a male and a female being intimate, where is it coming from? This idea of sexuality. It is a multifactorial concept. ये कहाँ से influence हो रहा है? It is influenced by gender. You are thinking about a male and a female relationship. It's affected by caste. Most often in North Indian societies, especially, even in South Indian societies for that matter, caste is very important. Marrying within the same caste, right? Your class is very important. Marrying within or above your financial class, religion, region, all these concepts are very important, or these factors are very important in influencing your notion of sexuality, the relationship, the intimate relationship between, or the intimate desires or feelings for another person. Now, when I say this, it is very clear that this concept is very fluid because it is affected by multiple factors, right? Let me give you an example. Like, let's say, if a lower caste sweeper, he desires to marry the girl of a baniya, do you think that will be acceptable? No. When you see the movie Jodha Akbar, when the king asked for the hand of Jodha, King Akbar, religion didn't matter, right? Then the caste didn't matter. The region did not matter. Why did it not matter? Because it was over and above the category of these limits. It was more important to strengthen the relationship between the two groups, right? So the idea of sexuality is affected by these terms. However, it still remains more fluid. There are no rigid, strict categories, right? Now, let's understand this concept in a little more detail. The aspects of sexuality. The first aspect is diversity. Now, like I said, it is a fluid concept. So, it is not fixed. It has different boundaries everywhere. So, when I say diversity, that means that you may not be interested as a man in a woman only or as a woman in a man only. Okay. Now, you may be what we use the term gay, you may be asexual, you may be bisexual. Let us understand these terms. Before I go on, gay is having interest in the same gender. So, as a female, you are interested in a female. As a male, you are interested in a male. You may be asexual. You would not have a sexual preference at all. That means you may be neither interested in males or females. On the contrary, you may be a bisexual. That means you may be interested. Bi means two. So, आपको दोनों genders में, sexes में interest है. So, sexuality is affected by multi factors first. Second, it is diverse, right? It varies from person to person. Now, the next thing is that it is affected by both pain and pleasure. That means it has both positive feelings and it has both negative feelings attached to it. That means let us now understand this with an example, that when you think of intimacy, right, it may give you people may like to, like, let me give you the example of a peacock. They say that a peacock spreads its feathers to attract the female peahen, right? So it has that pleasurable idea of, spreading its feathers, कि अपने जो भी उसका feathers हैं उसकी beauty से attract करता है. Similarly, women like to dress up, men like to dress up for females, and so on. They people like to dress up for each other. That these are pleasurable concepts. You like to go out together. You enjoy exploring things together. So these are positive feelings. However, they may be negative feelings. Negative feelings like you may be hesitant about certain aspects of your own body which you may be not wanting to share, right? So these are negative emotions that are attached to sexuality. Some people don't like certain aspects. कईयों को अपने हाथ पसंद नहीं होते, कईयों को अपने legs पसंद नहीं होते, and so on, other features of the body. So there may be negative feelings attached to physical intimacy, negative feelings attached to sexuality. If you've had a bad experience in life, somebody has touched you, spoken certain things to you, then also your mind will attach certain negative feelings to sexuality, right? Similarly, you like to dress up, go out with your partner. These are positive feelings that are attached to sexuality. So there is pain and pleasure. Then it is a very fluid concept. Like I told you, it is always changing, it does not stay constant. In fact, there is this very famous psychological theory of Freud, where he says that there is a point in life. This theory is open to criticism, and people have often critiqued it. But just for the matter of stating it, I'm saying that, like even Freud said that there is a certain age in life where boys are, attracted to their mothers and girls are attracted to their fathers. However, it is incestuous, it is not allowed in the society, and therefore this feeling is also temporary and it passes. So it is a fluid feeling. At some point in life you may want to be asexual, bisexual, homosexual, and 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 in the rest of your life you may be wanting to be heterosexual. So it is not same, it is not same at all times, it is not same for everybody. So, what is sexuality? Sexuality is the feeling, intimate feeling of being with somebody else, someone else. It is fluid. It has pain, concepts of pain and pleasure, and it is diverse. It is not the same for everyone at all times. Right? Now, lastly, it is socially constructed. Like I said, that in the beginning of the PPT, that it is affected by multiple factors. So, who can you be with? When can you be with? How can you be with? All of that is socially constructed. That means most often our society, even now that you see those gay pride parades going on, why are they there? Because in our society, homosexuality is still not accepted. By me, that I mean people liking the same sex partners is not still acceptable socially. Legally in some parts of the world and in our country also it may be accepted, but socially it still remains a taboo. People don't even like to talk about it. In fact, there was a time where it was politically critiqued concept where people were calling it a disease. It is actually not a disease. So having said that, most often our society accepts that as a male you can only be with a female and as a female you can only be with a male. That is the general straight home heterosexual perspective. How can you be with somebody? That means intimate relationships are only acceptable after marriage. In our society, it is still frowned upon to have premarital relationships or outside the marriage relationships. Right? When I told you, after a certain age in life, after you have crossed 18, you have married, you are in your post marital home inside your bedroom, that is when it is allowed. You cannot indulge in intimacy publicly. When can you have it? Intimate relationships when you are inside the confines of your house. You cannot indulge in intimacy publicly, right? Like very often we use the term, the urban term for this is PDA, public display of affection. That is not really socially acceptable, right? So, and all these things are affected by social factors. So, who, what, where, and when that we can have our intimate feelings for is decided by the society. It is a social construct. Now, like I said, why is that so? It is like that because in our society, we will study that in the later half of the presentation, that it is because we want to continue patriarchy, right? So the concept of sexuality, actually, the idea of being intimate with someone, it is very important aspect of our life, right? Now, however, sometimes it may lead to sexual violence, right? When we try to subvert the boundary of sex in sexuality, we till now we've understood sexuality in the term of our intimate feelings, but primarily sexuality is the acceptance of oneself as male or female. Now, being male or female, our body, our desires, that our lives, it is very important to us, and sometimes it may restrict our access to life and chances, right? Like, look at the term of education. As boys, very often higher education is allowed in all the men. However, for women, especially even in rural areas, even now, when the year they start menstruating, since schools are so far off, their access to education becomes restricted because they cannot travel that far. They should not travel at that far. And very often the families become protective and restrictive of them after they start menstruating, right? Then mobility becomes restricted. Now, there was a case in Delhi where a girl was raped. A news reporter was raped, and the one of the politicians made a statement that why was she out on the roads after 12 o'clock? As a parent, even I would like to keep my girl inside the house. That was what the politician stated at late night hours. Now, why is a girl supposed, even though if she's out for work, like a man, like any other man in the society, if she's out for work, why is time a restriction? Why cannot we change the society, change the perspective? But we, on the contrary, we restrict the woman based on her sexuality. She, right? Similarly, doctor's treatment. You may rush in a patient, but the doctor, if a male doctor is there, they will not look at the women till the time she is accompanied by a woman or there is a female attendant standing next to a doctor, right? So our sexuality is so important that it becomes restrictive in one way. That's important to our daily functioning of life. Now, the next concept that we look at is the sexual hierarchy. We've understood sexuality, right? We've understood how it is a multifactorial term, how it affects our society, how it has multiple aspects, and how it is central to our everyday life. The next concept is that of a sexual hierarchy. Sexual hierarchy is the relationship between a man and a woman, where men are definitely considered superior. And like I said, the who, what, when, and how of a relationship, of a, of a sexual relationship, is determined by the society. So, it is a relationship between a man and a woman, which is permissible by the society. जैसे society allow ही शादी के बाद करती है, right? Being intimate for a man with a woman is allowed Actually, intimacy is only allowed between a man and a woman, that too post marriage, after they are socially accept, they are married in a socially acceptable manner. ठीक है, सोसाइटी ने उनकी शादी को एक्सेप्ट कर लिया, ठीक है. Now, this relationship between a man and a woman should be between the same caste, same region, same religion, same class, right? So that is what is the ideal type of sexual relationship in the society. It is at the top of the pyramid in that of sexual hierarchy. The heterosexual relationship between a man and woman post marriage and in a couple of the same caste, same caste, gender, region, and religion, right? This couple who falls into this category is on the top of the pyramid. Now, this is seen as normative. This relationship that we spoke about of the top of the sexual hierarchy is normative. मतलब ये compulsory है, ठीक है? This means कि society expect करती है कि एक male और female should be in a relationship only post marriage and that too with a person of the same caste, class, region and religion. ठीक है, अगर आप ऐसा नहीं करते हो तो then you are liable for punishment. Now let's take examples now. When people started indulging in the same sex relationships, हमारी सोसाइटी ने उन्हें क्या लेबल किया? That इन्हें ठीक करने की जरूरत है, ये बीमार है, ठीक है. They were labeled as sick, diseased. Second, if a woman marries outside her caste or a man marries outside his caste or religion, हम क्या करते हैं? There are often cases of honor killings. We don't accept them altogether in the society. Rather, we throw them out of the society or we kill them altogether. These are the kind of punishments that our society is meting out. So, this ideal type of relationships are compulsory in the society, or there are no, because this is the norm, this is the rule. If you behave against it, there will be repercussion, there will be punishment. It is like आप घर पे अगर कोई पेरेंट्स के रूल्स के अगेंस्ट बिहेव करते हो तो आपके पेरेंट्स आपको पनिश कर देते हैं. अगर आप लेट घर आते हो, उनके टाइम के कर्फ्यू टाइम के बाद घर आते हो, उनकी पसंद के अगेंस्ट अगर आप कपड़े पहन रहे हो, तो आपके पेरेंट्स ऑफ कोर्स आपको डांटेंगे, आपको घर में थोड़े दिन कंपल्सरी बाहर जाना बंद कर देंगे. सो दीज आर पनिशमेंट्स अगर आप घर के रूल्स के अकॉर्डिंग बिहेव नहीं कर रहे हो. सिमिलरली अगर आप सोसाइटी के रूल्स के अकॉर्डिंग बिहेव नहीं कर रहे हो तो सोसाइटी भी आपको पनिश करेगी, राइट. नाउ देयर इज गेल रूबन स्टडी वेयर ही टॉक्स अबाउट द चार्म्ड सर्कल ऑफ सेक्सुअलिटी. जैसे हम इससे पहले जब हम सेक्सुअल हायरार्की की बात कर रहे थे तो मैं आपको बता रही थी कि सेक्सुअल हायरार्की के पिरामिड में टॉप पे वो एक हेट्रोसेक्सुअल सेम कास्ट रीजन रिलीजन क्लास वाला कपल है जो शादी के बाद ही which indulges in intimacy. Similarly, Gail Rubin talks about a charmed circle of sexuality, where he says that if you look at the inside of this circle, आपको सिर्फ इतनी ही परमिशन है, इतना ही फ्रीडम है कि आप ये चीजें कर लो. जो आउटसाइड ऑफ दिस सर्कल है, जो सेकंड सर्कल आप देख रहे हो, that is not allowed. That means if you are indulging in sexual intimacy for money, like I'm giving you an example from the circle outside, like let's say for money, it is not looked upon in the nice way, right? If you are indulging in sexual activity in a public area, right, like in the park, it is not acceptable. It is looked down upon. ठीक है, अगर आप if you are indulging into sexual intimacy for pornography, it is looked down upon. ठीक है, it is not considered well and you may be shunned from the society. आपको society में एक outcast की तरह treat किया जाएगा, right? तो जो इनसाइड ऑफ द सर्कल है, जैसे यू हैव टू बी मोनोगैमस, आपका सिर्फ एक ही पार्टनर होना चाहिए, राइट. सेक्सुअल इंटिमेसी प्राइमरली फॉर रिप्रोडक्शन. इट इज नॉट, मतलब सोसाइटी में हम उसको प्लेजर के कॉन्सेप्ट से नहीं देखते. हम सोचते हैं प्राइमरली हमारी सोसाइटी की थिंकिंग कैसी है कि इट इज ओनली फॉर रिप्रोडक्शन, ठीक है. इट इज बिटवीन अ कपल, राइट. दिस इज वन ऑफ द रीजंस कि हमारी सोसाइटी में marital rape was a concept जो बहुत बाद में accept किया गया. Just because you are married and you have to indulge in sex, it is not compulsory. The partner may not even like each other or the partner may be asexual in nature, right? But in charmed circle में when we look at the inside circle वही allowed है. So between a couple who's married it is considered normal. Even if you may like it, you may not like it, it is considered normal, right? So this is what Gail Rubin talks about, that हमारी सोसाइटी ने कुछ डूज एंड डोंट्स बना रखे हैं जो इनसाइड ऑफ दिस सर्कल है. दैट इज द डूज. यू हैव टू बी मैरिड, आप शादीशुदा हो, एक ही पार्टनर हो. इट इज आफ्टर मैरिज, इट इज इनसाइड योर हाउस होल्ड, in your bedroom, it should not indulge in pornography. All of that is what is acceptable in terms of sexuality. इसके अलावा अगर आप किसी भी तरीके से किसी भी रीजन से सेक्स में इंडल्ज कर रहे हो, then it is not acceptable and it may be open to punishment in the society. Right? So बाहर वाला सर्कल है, that is not acceptable. जो अंदर वाला सर्कल है, that is acceptable. Now, हमने ये charm circle society में create क्यों किया? Why does our society give so much priority as to हम individually क्या चाहते हैं? एक इंडिविजुअल की क्या फीलिंग है, सोसाइटी उसे कंट्रोल ही क्यों करना चाहती है, उसने क्यों इतने रूल्स बनाए? दैट इज बिकॉज जब तक sexuality is controlled by the society, it lets you perpetuate patriarchy. When a man and a woman are together, तब एक बाहर जाएगा, काम करेगा, women will stay at home and do the work. But if a man and man are married, who will go out and work and who will stay at home? If a woman and woman are married, one of the women will have to go out and work. So it spoils the division of labor and hence the idea of patriarchy. तो ये जो चार्म सर्कल ऑफ सोसाइटी हमने बना रखा है, जो इनर सर्कल है, इट इज टू प्रमोट डिविजन ऑफ लेबर एंड देयर बाय सस्टेन पेट्रियार्की, राइट? सो it is a socially constructed concept, and what is the idea? To sustain patriarchy. Next, we look at the concept of same sex desire. अभी तक charm circle में we are talking about being in a heterosexual relationship and that too post marriage. But what about those people who want the partner of the same sex or same gender, right? The society does not accept them. It does not look upon them as in a good way. जैसे मैंने आपको बताया, हमारे पॉलिटिशियंस इंडिया में तो बोलते हैं कि यू नो इट इज लाइक अ डिजीज. सो सोसाइटी ने abnormal लेबल कर दिया. Why? Because क्यों सोसाइटी ने इतना क्रिटिसाइज करी? बिकॉज दे आर एन ओपन चैलेंज, ओपन थ्रेट टू द पेट्रियार्की. अगर सेम सेक्स रिलेशनशिप में आपकी पॉपुलेशन इंडल्ज कर रही है, a large section of your population is indulging into it, then your patriarchy will not survive. Then it will lead to sexual equality in some ways, right? Now, that is why I told you earlier also कि सेक्सुअल हायरार्की सिर्फ एक ही तरीके के रिलेशनशिप्स को फेवर करती है, हेट्रोसेक्सुअल. पोस्ट मैरिज सेम क्लास कास्ट जेंडर एंड सेम कास्ट क्लास रेस एंड रीजन, रिलीजन एंड रीजन, ठीक है? तो जब ये सेम सेक्स रिलेशनशिप्स या ये होमोसेक्सुअल रिलेशनशिप्स पीपल ट्राई टू इंडल्ज इनटू देम, तो सोसाइटी क्या करती है? सोसाइटी रिटेलिएट करती है. कैसे? नाउ सोसाइटी के जो प्राइमरी इंस्टीट्यूशन हैं, आपकी फैमिली, आपके नेबरहुड, आपकी एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट्स, दे ऑल कम फॉरवर्ड टू सपोर्ट द आइडियोलॉजी ऑफ द सोसाइटी. तो आपकी फैमिली क्या करेगी? वेरी ऑफन फैमिली को ऐसे लगता है कि अगर कोई गे है, कोई होमोसेक्सुअल आइडियोलॉजी में बिलीव करता है, तो क्या करें? you force them, you either don't talk to them, seclude them in the household till the time, like they say, इन्हें खुद से अकल नहीं आ जाती, till the time उन्हें खुद से समझ नहीं आता कि heterosexuality is the right way of life. till a girl says नहीं मैं लड़के से ही शादी करूंगी, और a guy says कि नहीं मैं लड़की से ही शादी करूंगी, तब तक आप उन्हें फोर्सफुली अकेले आइसोलेट करके घर में एक कोने में अलग कर देते, राइट? देयर इज साइलेंस फ्रॉम सोसाइटी. मतलब in fact there is an example that your material states that if you take a homosexual partner to a gay event, to a normal heterosexual party in your workplace also, तब भी आप बहुत often बता भी नहीं पाओगे कि this is my partner, because you know people will not look at it nicely, people will not treat your partner nicely, ठीक है? In a lot of cases Their families have forced the people who have homosexual ideas into corrective rape. Ab corrective rape kya hai? You forcefully make them mate with another partner. You force them into sexual relationships with a person of the opposite sex so that they understand what is it really like. Actual में reality क्या है. So there is a belief on the part of the family कि once they engage in what they call normal sexual activity, they will understand कि सही तरीका यही है. ठीक है. So this is a form of rape. What is rape? Rape is something sexual activity that is done against the permission or the consent of the partner. So when a person is forced into an intimate relationship with a person of an opposite sex also, this is a form of rape. But families, it is labeled as corrective rape because they are trying to correct their child, their ideology, right? Your educational institutes are always training you in a certain way. Homosexuality is not accepted. If you indulge in homosexuality in your and if you have a desire towards the same sex partner, trust me, no hostel is going to keep you. If they figure out, you will be even thrown out of your hostels. So there is often violence against, because we don't accept it, we don't want to accept it. We often indulge in violence as a society against homosexuals. Why? Because it is against the normal, the rules of the society. So what we say is a good woman. How do we characterize a good woman? A good woman is that, like, in India, we have the image of a sanskari ladki. What is a sanskari ladki? The one who wears saris, the one suits, who looks after the family, who says yes to everything. So that is similarly, there is a concept of a good woman, जो सोसाइटी के रूल्स को फॉलो करती है, जो पेट्रियार्की को परपेचुएट करने में हेल्प करती है. कैसे पेट्रियार्की को परपेचुएट करेगी? अपने पेरेंट्स की मर्जी से शादी करेगी, अपने हस्बैंड और हस्बैंड की फैमिली की लुक आफ्टर करेगी, right? She will run the household. She will not object to the elders in that family. She will never say no to the men of the family in terms of their decisions. She will not oppose them, right? So she is serving the purpose of patriarchy. क्यों? क्योंकि आपको जो कहा जा रहा है वो करना है, राइट? तो बेसिकली एक अच्छी लेडी, एक अच्छी औरत, एक संस्कारी औरत वो है, अ गुड वुमन इन द सोसाइटी इज दैट हु विल से अ येस टू एवरीथिंग द मेन डिसाइड फॉर. शादी से पहले आपके ब्रदर या आपके फादर ने आपके लिए कोई डिसीजन लिया तो यस, शादी के बाद आपके फादर इन लॉ, आपके हस्बैंड ने कोई डिसीजन लिया तो भी यस, राइट? सो शी इज सेइंग अ यस टू द मेल डोमिनेंस प्राइमरीली. ठीक है. जो चुपचाप आपकी में एक मेल्स की हर बात मानती है और घर को चुपचाप चलाती है, कोई भी डिसीजन को ना नहीं करती है, इज व्हाट अ गुड वुमन इज. द नेक्स्ट कॉन्सेप्ट इज दैट ऑफ अ सेक्सुअल प्लेजर. Competition and judgment from fellow women, the right to say yes or no, the autonomy over their desires. This is sexual freedom. Okay? A woman should be able to say yes or no. Like I was telling you earlier, that a woman, if she says a yes, she is termed as loose character. Like if a guy proposes to you and you easily say a yes, so you're termed as loose. But if you say a no, then we take it as that the common, even in Hindi media, the ladki ke naam hai haan, hasi to patti. All those concepts is the lack of autonomy of a woman to express her feelings. So if she genuinely wants to say a yes, she cannot. If she genuinely wants to say a no, it will not be accepted. Because if she says a yes, if she says a no or a yes, the society will act in its own ways, right? तो उसकी कोई अपनी डिमांड नहीं है. It is in the hands of a man to perceive what he thinks is right for her, right? So the concept of sexual pleasure for women is a very closed concept. We don't allow them that choice, right? We don't even allow them the choice to say a yes or no, right? Now, again, coming back to the concept which we started in last unit, is that of sexual empowerment. What is sexual empowerment? In the last unit, like I told you, it is the ability to take control of one's own life and choices. right? What is sexual empowerment? Sexual empowerment is to have control over or to be able to think about your own happiness. Like in the last slide, I was telling you that the woman is not does not even have the right to say a yes or a no. It is not looked upon nicely in the society. Similarly, here also I'm telling you that sexual empowerment will imply for women, लेडीज के लिए या औरतों के लिए सेक्सुअल एम्पावरमेंट का एक्चुअल मतलब ही यही है कि वो अपने प्लेजर, अपनी सेक्सुअलिटी को एक्सेप्ट कर पाए या उसमें हाँ या ना बोल पाए, राइट? Now, to do that, for women to be able to do that, there needs to be an understanding in the society by women and men both that there is oppression of women. हमें पहले ये समझने की जरूरत है as women ourselves that women are being oppressed in the society. Every time that you know we accept a yes, we say a yes without liking it, it is oppression, it is self oppression. Similarly, men also have to understand that a woman may not always say a yes or may not always say a no. It is her choice. ठीक है? Then next is overcoming barriers. जो भी barriers हैं हमारी choices में, we need to overcome those barriers. We need to be financially, socially independent so that हमारे पास, we need to be educated so that we can actually make decisions. What is the primary reasons इतने साल से, like I was telling you in the first chapter also that हमारी सोसाइटी में सरपंच हमेशा मेल्स होते थे. किस लॉजिक से? बिकॉज वो हम घर के बाहर की भी दुनिया देखी है, बाहर की दुनिया देखी है. सो women also have to get educated, go out, explore the world so that they can, you know, achieve empowerment. Next, lastly, we need to question judgmental attitudes. जो सोसाइटी में कॉमन एटीट्यूड्स हैं अगेंस्ट women, that women are supposed to do these, we need to start challenging. How can we do it again? We need to be educated, we need to go out and work. ठीक है? So empowerment will come only when women realize that they are being oppressed and they try to overcome the barriers. एक प्रॉब्लम को आप तभी सॉल्व कर पाओगे ना जब आप पहले रिकॉग्नाइज करो कि प्रॉब्लम है, and then you try to rule out all the barriers to finally reach the solution stage. Now let's sum up the unit. We began with the understanding of sexuality. Sexuality, we said, is the feeling of intimacy for another person. This feeling, like gender, is a socially constructed feeling. It is influenced by multiple factors like caste, class, religion, region, etc. Right? Now, sexuality is primarily determined on the basis of sexual hierarchy. Sexual hierarchy के टॉप पे कौन सा रिलेशनशिप है, कौन सा कपल है, which is heterosexual, indulges in intimacy post marriage and is with the partner of the same sex, same caste, class, region and religion. ठीक है? ये क्यों ऐसे होता है? इट इज टू मेंटेन, ऐसे कपल्स हम क्यों फेवर करते हैं सोसाइटी में, सो दैट वी कैन मेंटेन पेट्रियार्की इन द सोसाइटी. We need heterosexual couples of the same religion, region, caste, class, so as to maintain patriarchy in the society. Homosexuality, people of the same sex relationships, they become a challenge to this patriarchy. So therefore homosexuality is not liked by our society, it is considered abnormal. Lastly, what is sexual empowerment? Sexual empowerment is recognizing the fact that it is only for patriarchy that we are perpetuating heterosexuality. We need to understand and accept and respect individual sexual desires. Now we will look at certain questions that you may expect from the unit. How is sexuality a social construct? Look at the sexual hierarchy pyramid. The society is favoring, like again, we talk about Gail Rubin's charmed circle. In that circle, the acceptable sexual relationships are only favoring those partners which are heterosexual, married, indulge in sexual intimacy inside the confines of a household, in their bedroom, and belong to the same group. That means same caste, same class, same region, same religion. How does sexuality perpetuate patriarchy? Because we are perpetuating sexual desires on the basis of कि male will be dominant and female will be subservient. तो हम ऐसे ही relationships को perpetuate कर रहे हैं, इसलिए men will always continue to dominate, patriarchy will perpetuate. Next, what are the forms of violence faced by homosexuals? We talked about four types of violence. There was silence. They are outcasted. They are secluded from the society. They are isolated. Second, thirdly, they family forces them into what they call as normal. Corrective rapes are often there. Then educational institutes are constantly forcing an ideology of heterosexuality. And lastly, even at workplaces, the acceptance of homosexual relationships is very limited. In fact, agar you have a homosexual partner, you will not be able to openly come out of the closet and say it. It is not that easy. I'm not saying people are not doing it. I'm just saying it is not easy. So these are the forms of violence that you cannot even express yourself. There is suppression of emotion. There is constantly re-institutionalization of normal and abnormal by your educational institutes, and there are often instances of corrective rape. So we have four types. Why do we need sexual empowerment? We need sexual empowerment because we are forcing a certain type of sexual relationships on the society, so only to perpetuate patriarchy. We need empowerment so that people can understand, that people can recognize that they are being forced into, against their will, into heterosexual relationships, and we can accept homosexuality in a better manner. We can, it's not even about homosexuality or heterosexuality. It is primarily about just understanding and respecting individual desires. It is about who, what, when, and where can indulge in sexual relationship. That independence will come from sexual empowerment. I hope the unit is clear to you. You can run through the PPT for a better understanding. Thank you.